going to win the world too.
Edwards. Oh, Edwards! They are advancing to the Western Conference Finals for the first time in 20 years.
Oh, it's on, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, yeah, baby.
Welcome into Wolves After Dark, everyone. Timberwolves, I guess, beat the Mavericks today on a Christmas day, 105-99. Merry Christmas, everybody. Happy holidays, everybody. We're here on Christmas. How about that? That's crazy. We haven't been streaming much lately, and then we do show up on the holidays. We're the opposite of most people. Yeah, Timberwolves win. If you just watch the first half, you feel fantastic. If you just watch the second half, you feel terrible. Ashwin, as a whole, how do you feel?
Dude, I feel fantastic. I feel terrible. I don't know where to really. I was actually really excited to talk about the team on this show, and then the fourth quarter happened.
I know.
Yeah, when I was like awakened, I was like, "This is why we made the trade. This is what it looks like when shots go in and we play with each other. The ball moves. Everyone's involved, with the exception of a couple players." And then when a little bit of tension, a little bit of stress, a little bit of whose turn is it now happens, it just becomes iso ball, becomes everything we hate about the sport. And I mean, I was actually pretty proud of the team for like not letting go of the gas pedal or of the driver's seat when Luka went down with injury in the start of the third quarter. We kind of built the lead like up to 28 or something. But it would have been an all-time Minneapolis miracle to have also lost this lead, and we almost did, basically did. Hats off to Kyrie Irving and the skeleton crew of the Dallas Mavericks. It didn't feel like anyone else came to play except for him. And, well, I'm glad that a 28-point lead is actually safe.
Barely. Which is super concerning. Yeah, Kyrie, 14 of 27. He goes for 39 points, obviously, with Luka going down. Luka played well in the 16 minutes that he played. He had 14 points, 5 rebounds, and 2 assists. So he was playing well. But they were down big, even though he was playing well. When he went, I think when he left, they were down by like 17 or something like that. And you're right. The Timberwolves did persevere a little bit through that, because typically what we do see, like you were mentioning, is like, once a major player goes out or something like that, or you're up by enough, or both, like it was tonight, you don't, you let off the gas pedal, it gets bad. But no, we really did. And we did bring it up to that 28-point lead that you mentioned. But, I'm so in the same boat as you today, because I was so ready at halftime. I was like, man, we could talk about how this is like, the turning point for Donte DiVincenzo and Julius Randle, and that like maybe this is like something that can really get the team going and have some momentum, and play in an important game, a nationally televised game, a Christmas day game. But that second half, I almost just can't consider this a win. It was so bad. Like they were what they got within 2? Was that what it was? They officially got within 2?
Oh, I thought they tied it. But they probably got within 2. Let me just check real quick.
Yeah, it looks like it was 2. But yeah, our biggest lead was 28, theirs was 5. Oh man.
Yeah, we got it within 2.
Kyrie is just our kryptonite, and maybe he's a lot of people's kryptonite, honestly. Because there's just no way to like, he's just so fast, and he can just make shots from anywhere. And he's hitting those shots with his left hand too, that are just like, this is ridiculous. You should not be making this. But yeah, overall, I guess, we had some good performances out of people. It's not like we didn't have good performances, but I guess maybe my question for you, and my question for myself as I'm talking here,
but not for chat.
Not for chat. Is this more of the Mavs just went on a crazy hot run, or was this that our defense lapsed, or some other third option?
I actually think it's a third option. It's all of the above. There's an option, like a multiple choice test. It's all of the above. It's Kyrie hit a rhythm. He knew that he had to turn it on because he was the only kind of offensive weapon. We kind of relaxed. Rudy kind of sagged a bit far too much. A lot of other players kind of were just like, okay, we have a cushion. And then we, started to kind of like play hero ball and not really play within a team. The team concept that looked so great in the first half, first three quarters, even. And it all really started with like Anthony Edwards saying, "No, we're not going to like waste my time on the court. We're going to like utilize me and pop off for 8 quick points in the first quarter." That was awesome to see, right? Don't let others get involved. Let me get started. So then at least we have some sort of pace at the start of the games. So often we're like down early. What happened? The answer to your question is all the above because we relaxed. We saw Kyrie pop off and we didn't know how to respond except for we wanted to like a one-on-one battle. And then maybe momentum swung in their fashion, calls go their way, the 50-50 balls, all the things that we were doing so well in the first half, the third quarter was like, the fourth quarter kind of was like a relapse to the old form of us. Like when we play against the Atlanta Hawks and we play against the Golden State Warriors of like just a few days ago. It was almost a carbon copy of that kind of performance, right? Like we just watch ball hawk, no ball movement. I don't think like Jaden McDaniels saw the ball at all, in like the fourth quarter. It's just like as an example.
Yeah. It's I guess the thing that I always say is that, if you can learn and like fail and win at the same time, that is good. So I guess this is a good thing. I guess this is a net positive that we win this game. But I think the fact that Luka's out is also part of that too. But yeah, I'm just looking at the game flow and seeing how high we had it at the end of the third quarter, and it's like, man. Also, shout out to Josh Minott. He had some good minutes early, some really good minutes early. Even was like stopping Lively, which I know is not like maybe priority number one when you have Kyrie and Luka on the team, but Lively kills us. Yeah, so like Minott played great. So yeah, no, and so they ended up having who was their main scorer? Obviously, Kyrie, and then besides that, nobody scored more than 14, and that was Luka. And then the next closest was Clay with 12. So it really was a lot of Kyrie. But at the same time, we watched this in the playoffs last year, and we couldn't stop him either. So.
Yeah, absolutely. That was 100% what I was just about to say, as well as like, hey, we see double teams and we don't know 100% how to respond. Shouldn't they see double teams? Shouldn't we like not just like play them straight up? Why is Kyrie getting open looks? Is it just because he's just a point guard with the best handling ever? I don't know. Mark Davis was on something tonight, but I feel like lessons can be learned from these games, but most importantly, we won. We can kind of like go home slightly happy, halfway happy. And kind of just like revel in the fact that we built this really fun looking team for at least 3 quarters. And we're pointing fingers. We are exclaiming on the New York Times. Apparently John Krasinski is like posting about our team and pointing fingers even. And looking up trade machines and like, bless up Sachin Gupta from above. The trade machine is allowing us to explore things because we need a scapegoat on our team because we should not be 15-14. We should be so much better than our record. But that's the testament to the league. That's testament to like how other teams are kind of performing. Any team can kind of win these games. Like look at the New York Knicks barely scraping by against Wembanyama only and the Spurs. It's crazy, right? So the floor of the NBA is rising and we need to elevate our game. And I feel like there's no real time left. This was a great stretch to examine and like kind of look at the 3 quarters that really got us to this point because 28-point lead is no longer safe apparently, but at least it's something to be like tip our hat on.
To be fair, I don't think it ever it never has been against the Wolves. All leads are not safe for the Wolves. Shout out the Kings game from 2020 or whatever.
Oh my God. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. Eric Heller.
Eric, I appreciate you. 5 gifted as always. Seriously, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, man.
But do you think it's time to get into the tier list? I forgot to share my screen.
Let's see. Disco.
Disco. All right.
Manimal says our kryptonite feels more like ball movement on offense than Kyrie.
I mean, that
Agreed.
is-
Agreed. June says our offense was bad in the fourth. Agreed.
Yeah.
What was it? 29-7 or like 33-11 or something like that. That is so.
It was
It's just harsh. It's just how does that happen? Not on like in today's NBA, but like someone's got to hit a shot. Like if Garrison
Exactly.
Matthews pops off for 25 or whatever, someone has to hit a shot for our team. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I have to rewatch the fourth quarter. Not that I really want to, but I'm trying to understand what happened because when you're up by 28 points, really no team in the NBA should be able to lose that amount of a lead in 14 minutes. Like especially when it's the fourth quarter. Like I feel like there's just no way you can allow that to happen because all you need to do is just get some buckets. And Anthony Edwards was able to get a couple buckets in the fourth, but like somebody else has to be able to make something. And I just got to see where that went wrong. Was it that we went to Randle too much? I don't know. But either way, yeah, tier list. Before we do the tier list, I keep forgetting to do this. If you haven't already, like the stream. We're streaming on Christmas. Give us a like. That's our present. If you haven't already, subscribe. And for the tier list, A1, unforgettably good. Glenn Taylor, unforgettably bad. Meh is kind of forgotten or whatever. And then everything else in between. Cash, I guess, also is a lot of made buckets. And old, which I don't, maybe somebody's an old tonight, is dynamic. It can move up or down. So who do you want to start with tonight?
Yo, Josh Minott, 5 minutes, 2 points. Doesn't matter, right? He looked the part. He looks like he probably belongs. And
Yeah,
some people have mentioned it in chat already. Like, could he be a replacement for certain players on the court that spend a lot of time kind of just walking up and floor, going up and down? And I'm ready for a shift. I'm really ready for a punch to this system because I don't think a shakeup to what we're doing. And I think Minott might not necessarily represent the answer, but he's representing like a tool to like show the rest of our team, like we're not going to just watch you flop around and sit in a corner and not play the role that we need. We need you to excel in your role. Minott's like hungry. He looks hungry. He had that block, as you said, 2 rebounds. He played very well. He didn't really shoot the ball well, but that doesn't matter. In 5 minutes, he was very effective. I mean, we could go off on an hour for Minott in 5 minutes, but I thought it was like B, if not like an A. Like I'm excited about what he can present because I don't know. He might be a throwaway in a trade. That would suck if we lose him.
Exactly.
We don't see him develop at all. So
yeah. Obviously, I hope if he can have a little bit more offensive game, and by offensive game, I just mean like like just threes. Like if he could just hit a couple threes, have the ability to catch and shoot a 3 or 2 a game, that's a huge win. Yeah, I guess I probably am in between A and B, and if we're in between, we go with the win or the loss, and I think it's a win. So we're gonna go up to an A for Josh Minott today.
Love it. I really feel like there's some sort of thing in the water for him, and I think it's just a matter of time, but it might not be our team, and that blows because like if he's on another team and he pops off like most other Timberwolves, like that would really suck to see that happen. So I do feel like he's earned a shot, and it's not 5 minutes a game. I think that's kind of embarrassing for Finch to like not figure this fucking crap out. Like
I just don't understand. He played so well, and
every other team in the NBA develop players like Deuce McBride. Like, how does Deuce McBride become something that is so palpable that they can like trade off DiVincenzo? That's because they developed this guy who has no game into something, and now he's a role player because he has confidence, and now he's a shooter, and now he pops off for 20 points every now and then. It's like that's part of it. Like it's incredibly part of it. And I mean, Finch, offensive guru, flow genius, let it flow. Doesn't want to let it flow off the bench, apparently.
Yeah, I just don't understand. I mean, why you play him 5 minutes, he plays super well, and then he never comes back in. So whatever. Who's next?
I had like a wonderful amount of praise I wanted to share with Donte DiVincenzo. Finally, he shows up, but like I don't know, the second half, it kind of like cratered for me. So I will hold back, but I really will quickly say Donte DiVincenzo, 25 minutes, 11 points, 3 for 7 from 3. Welcome to the NBA season. Like, I feel like this was his
Seriously.
only game that he's like showed up for.
Yeah.
Maybe in the preseason he was a god, but like that was it. I really think that if he really needed 30 games, he should have like said it in a presser, like, "Hey, I need some time because I'm going to be bad" or something, just to like ease our mind or something. Because
Yes.
I was very worried about like how he was sulking, how his energy, how his body
Yeah.
language was like presented. I love
Yep.
like him just shooting threes. I don't need anything else, and he was making them. And especially when we were building the lead, he was like pumping me up with making shots. Like, so that's what we need from him. I thought this was like probably a B like game for him.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I really, really liked the beginning of this game because it was like, wow, this is like a little taste of what we saw in Donte DiVincenzo in the playoffs last year, where he was just dominating on the Knicks. So, yeah, no, I thought this was good until the fourth. The fourth, the offense fell off. As somebody mentioned in the chat, in the fourth, Donte was playing. This is Steven Swayze. In the fourth, Donte was playing good defense when they took him out for Conley. We almost lost. So,
You're right. I'm sorry about that. Yep, you're right
I
about
do.
that.
A little bit, but I also think that there was a moment where I kind of saw the lineup and I saw that it was like Donte was the point guard, and we didn't really have like a steady hand. I mean, Dante's just not like a true point guard. So like, sure, he can bring the ball up. So can Ant and I guess Randall. But some of those moments where you start to get a little shaky, that's where I'm like, okay, I think I might want Conley in there, even though he hasn't been playing well. But he just gives a little bit more structure and a little bit more calm. But yes, I do agree. So yeah, anyways, B for Donte. I would love to see, this is kind of more of the game that we expected to see from him regularly throughout the season. Get a few threes in the game, and just really stretch out the offense a little bit. So finally happening. Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, in the first half, 3 for 4 from the field, 3 for 4 from 3, 9 points. He proceeds to do nothing in the second half offensively, except for Chuck and kind of just like not be present, not be a force on offense. So that was my big like bugaboo with him. Yeah, let's move on. Naz Reid, boy, did I get all the over-unders wrong tonight. Naz Reid was part of it with less than 22 minutes, only 6 points. I really thought that he would be kind of one of the X factors tonight.
I do.
Go ahead, Cameron. I don't know what to say about him.
I thought he was going to be an X factor too, because I believe he had some pretty good games, or at least a couple good games against the Mavs in the playoffs last year, where it kind of felt like he was more of our like go-to offense at a lot of times. So I was really looking forward to this game from Naz, and he was just pretty quiet. He didn't have a lot of shots. Didn't really have a lot of anything. I mean, he had 6 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists. Didn't get any fun blocks, which we have been getting a lot of recently. But
won a game.
Yeah, I don't exactly know why though. I don't know if he had defenders that were just more pressed to him, and because it did seem like Ant had a little bit more room this game for some reason. And maybe that's because people were more on Naz, and Naz has been playing. Well, he's been playing okay lately. He's had some good games recently, but yeah, I don't really have good of a great answer on why Naz didn't go off tonight. But yeah, not even in foul trouble either. He only had 1 foul. So for Naz's grade, though, probably a meh, because I don't necessarily think it was like a bad game. I just didn't really notice him out there.
I didn't notice him at all. So I think it's a math, not a D'Lo, but like D'Lo is actively like just being awful on the court. I don't think he was like anything, but I don't think he was better than that. So kind of just looking at the stat line and through the third quarter, like 17 minutes, 4 points. What is that? That's not six man of the year caliber player. That's maybe what I would expect out of Josh Minott. I think you're a better player. You're getting paid like something. I think you need to step up. And not every game is going to be this magnificent performance or whatever. But I do feel like, hey, 3-game losing streak. All eyes are having you like take the reins of the starting power forward position, and you put up the stinker. There's a reason why you're not starting. Probably. He's pouting like Cat, and I don't like that energy.
I know.
And We saw that in the first game of Christmas. Fucking Cat tears a towel. I don't know if you saw that.
I did not
Cat
see
tears
this.
a towel, and he took his time tearing a towel and making sure the cameras are on him. It was pretty sad. But and then he doesn't even play in the fourth quarter. That was something. But
Yeah, foul
hey,
trouble.
this
I
is
saw
not a Cat
that.
Center show. This is Cat's killing it in New York.
Maybe it is a cat.
Dude, Nickeil Bridges popping up for 40. That's
Yeah.
crazy. Knicks have so
That
many
is crazy.
weapons. We thought we had weapons, and I thought we gained more. That was part of the trade, to get more threats out there, to get more playmakers out there. And Naz Reid is a capable ball handler, distributor, playmaker. I'm not seeing much of any of that right now. I just feel like he's just flopping around. Big fat and meh for me. Moving on, Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Sorry, let me just get to a stat line real quick. 15 minutes, 8 points, 2 for 4 from 3. It felt like he couldn't miss, but whatever, it doesn't matter.
That's funny. I feel the opposite. I felt like I couldn't see him hit one.
Oh, shoot.
It's interesting. But I mean, it's funny because he's also 50%, so both of us are wrong. But I feel like a little bit lately, Na has been falling off shooting wise a little bit. He was so hot to start the season. For like the first 20, 25 games of the season, he was ridiculously hot shooting. Where like if he was open for three, I was like, it's happening. Or he does this like pull up, like almost fadeaway mid-range shot, which is like kind of funny looking, but just clearly like his motion that just goes in every time. And I feel like for the last couple of games, it has not been that. But I was a little excited because at first when Kyrie was going off early, I was like, maybe, just maybe, Na will come in and this will be a better matchup because Conley is just kind of small in front of Kyrie.
Yeah.
And even like he was actually pressing up pretty aggressively against Kyrie in moments, but Kyrie was just shooting over him. Not that Kyrie's like ridiculously tall or anything, but Mike is very small. So I was like, okay, let's get Na out there, get a little bit more wingspan. I didn't really notice that much of a difference, though. Maybe I was looking in different places, but this, to me, kind of felt like a meh game from Na.
Oh, you're probably right, Dusty, to Wiz. I'll get over it. I'm over it. I don't know. Cameron, do I miss Cat? I think I might slightly. I'll say that much. All right, moving on. Sorry. Na got a minute and change in the fourth quarter.
That's interesting.
Why? Why? Why did Conley get 7 minutes? Why did nothing happen? A team low for Conley in the fourth quarter in terms of plus minus. He was getting owned. He's not the defensive player he used to be or can be, but he's a leader on the court. But we need players on the court first. He had a pretty good stint in the third quarter, but we're talking about Na. Sorry, I really thought Na should have played in the fourth quarter. I thought he could have played way more and just give a different look for Kyrie. He was clearly popping off.
Yeah,
change what's going on. I think this is a Finch issue, not a Na issue. I'm giving Na a meh, if not a B.
Yeah, I think this is a meh, but not by his own doing. This is a little bit more of Finch not playing him in the fourth and giving him an opportunity to possibly shine or possibly not. But oops, the heck, there we go. All right.
I mean, there's that 1-3 in the corner that I just can't stop thinking about. Julius Randle. By the way, we'll talk about Julius Randle in a second, but Julius Randle drives his rim, runs out of real estate, pops to Na, who sprints to the corner. The ball, sorry, that's a weird visual. The ball and Na come at the same time, or meet at the same time, and Na hits that three, and it just looks so pure.
Yes.
That's why we made the trade, because someone other than Ant can make that play. That's why Na's on the corner, because Na can make those threes. That's why Na's so valuable, because he's doing that on both sides of the ball, right?
Yep.
Anyways, I love that play, and it's sticking with me in my head. But that was all I maybe saw from Na, and we could have seen a lot more from that. Hey, moving to the starters, we were just talking about Conley. 25 minutes, 10 points. Most, if not all of that, came in the third quarter. 3 assists, 3 assists. This is just a shell of what he used to be, man. You don't play 25 minutes, 3 assists as starting point guard. You're not a threat out there. It's really making our offense look lackluster. Yeah, maybe he threw a lob for Rudy Gobert. Maybe he sets up Gobert decently. But, we need someone else to do that. It's not Conley. It can't be Conley. I'm a little frustrated that Conley gets this much time out there.
I think, yeah, I agree with you. And I know that the natural, I guess, reflex of everybody is going to be let's play Dillingham. But I really, I mean, I want to see Dillingham play. But I think if we're trying to play winning basketball, um, that's not a great combo right now. Because Dillingham, although he can do some kind of fun looking things out there on offense, and especially if he's making his threes, that's really fun then. Um, but he is just, I mean, the minute he comes in the game, the minute the other team goes on a run. So it can't be Dillingham yet. He needs to have minutes. He needs to grow and become the future. Like he is the future. We need that to happen sooner rather than later because Conley is not playing well. I can't even believe that he shot 4 of 9. It felt like every shot I can't even recall a single make that he made. So it just doesn't look good out there. The only thing that I thought looked kind of interesting was his defense attempted defense in Kyrie in the first quarter, but it wasn't successful. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess this is like a meh. I was thinking in my head D'Lo, but like these stats aren't necessarily terrible. But from my recollection of the game, I felt, oh yeah, it's old. It's old. That's so obvious. Thank you.
Yeah, it's old. It's always going to be old. He is permanently old. But where is old? I think it's probably around D'Lo to meh.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Oops.
I mean,
there we go.
Yeah, there it is. Hello, Conley. Welcome to the tier list.
Dynamic tier list.
There's this new show. I'm not recommending this new show on Netflix, but there's a show called Man on the Inside. It's Ted Danson as this like suave looking 80-year-old, and he's in a retirement home kind of doing some detective work. Like it's just a bunch of old people, and they made a show, a bunch of old people doing things. It's probably a good show, but that's kind of how I felt about Conley. He's probably a good player, but he's just old. Like everything that I feel about him, and I'm older than him. I don't know what to say. Cameron, that makes me feel old. Look at this shit. I don't want any of this, but it's part of life. Yeah. Conley's part of life. Maybe you should step and be like, it's time to play someone else.
Yeah.
We should like walk on the court with a cane or something. Like if Finch isn't going to pull you, you got to pull yourself out.
Make it obvious.
Make it obvious. Yeah.
It's sad. We need another point guard, and I don't know how we resolve that because I just don't think that Dillingham is like a year away. Like I think he's probably a couple years away from being like actually close to like a starting point guard. Maybe I don't even know.
We don't know. We've seen him in bursts, and he's given us a lot of life when he's played out there. By the way,
exactly.
He's given us a lot of joy when he's played out there. I wouldn't mind seeing him, even on Christmas, even in a game. When we were up 25, someone said in the comments, like,
yes, I saw that.
Why not bring him out?
Yes, exactly.
Rest some of the players that might probably close the game out because they were gassed. That's another thing that was happening in the fucking fourth quarter. Kyrie hit another level, and we are just like breathing on each other.
Yes. Yeah. I don't know. This is a longer conversation for another day, but I just don't know how we resolve the point guard issue right now because Mike is too old. He's only going to have 1 out of every 10 games that is acceptable. And Dillingham is too young, and he's only going to have 1 out of every 10 games that's like acceptable. So like, do you trade for a point guard? What point guards are even available for trade?
I mean, there might be.
The only player that I can ever think of, and it's just because there's ties to Ant, because Ant is friends with him, is Colin Sexton. But I just don't know that that's like a great fit. Like he's a good scorer, but I don't know that he's like a really like true point guard that we kind of need. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe that's good for us though. Maybe we need another scoring point guard. I have no clue. But yeah. Whoa, there's orange on the screen. The heck is this? Comment from Ant MJ235. Super chat. Appreciate you. Thoughts on Ant not getting free throws when he attacks the rim? Maybe he needs to stop going strong through contact and flop like SGA. So first off, thank you for the super chat. That's a huge super chat on Christmas. I appreciate that. But 2, unfortunately, it seems as if he does need to flop like that because he's just not going to get the contact. He is going to get the contact. He's just never going to get the call because he is getting contact a lot of the times when he drives. I mean, I remember if you look back at like all of Ant's like playoff highlights and stuff like that, or even just look at like his dunk reels and stuff like that, look at how many of the times he is fouled and not called. It is embarrassing. He complains, he gets fined for talking about the refs, which of course he's talking crazy about the refs, but like still, like he gets fined for that. That's just how it's rewarded. The refs just look for people to lose their balance and fall over. I mean, prime example is look at the Wemby game against the 76ers. That game is crazy, by the way. If you didn't see the highlights from that game, rewatch that because the second quarter or whatever is bananas. Like, I have never seen something so crazy happen in a game other than maybe Glue Girl. But like he's just falling all over the place with little to no contact, and they're calling fouls every time. That's just what Ant would have to do. But Ant is trying to go strong, and I don't know. Honestly, like this is a homerism take, but I really do just think that Ant has too much respect for the game to flop, and he's just not going to. So I think he's just going to have to make his way through that because like tonight, he had 0 free throws. And I can guarantee you he had contact more than 0 times. Like this is crazy. So anyways, to answer your question, I mean, I think he has to continue going strong. He has to drive because he's not really charging. And as long as he's somewhat effective around the rim, then yes. But if he's if he's not effective, then sure, just chuck threes, I guess, whatever. And then if you have an open lane, dunk on somebody. But then you might get called for an offensive foul because that's apparently how refs like to treat him. So
I'm not going to disagree. By the way, thank you so much. Happy holidays. Ant MJ 235 or 23.5. Oh, that's 23.5.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Oh, Jesus. All right. My thoughts are just going to expand on that. Basically, like look to the players like LeBron, Jimmy Butler, the players that might like not match your body type, but like they play a certain way to get to the line a lot. And there they go strong, but they also kind of lean with their arms and elbows, and you kind of go with your body. You kind of go lean in with your legs even sometimes. And so, in my opinion, Anthony Edwards isn't getting to the line because he's not driving enough, but that's partially because of our team construction. But when he does drive to the rim, I do think his agenda should be score, but also not worry about the free throws. Like they're not respecting the hay. You're going away from the hay even. You're now like clapping your fingers or you're clapping your hands and pointing at the refs and stuff. You got to like just respect them and maybe talk to them a little bit more cordially. But I just don't know. Like the way that LeBron gets to the line is like he throws his elbow and his elbow gets hacked, or like the way James Harden goes in is he leans in and gets like hit his beard gets hit, like so the way the SGA gets to the line is so much different. It's more aligned and attuned to like Wemby, where they fall down or they like, do a little like was it Trey Young type of maneuvers. Like I don't like that. And I don't think he knows how to flop. I think he's even said that out loud. So I think he needs to, improve his like stature when he drives his rim, where he's like running in, but he leans in with more of his body than maybe his like arms. The arms should do all the talking because if they hack the arm, it's a clear foul. So, but maybe he doesn't get the respect that he deserves. June says refs have an agenda against us. I don't know what to say about that, but there it is. Yeah. Oh wow, more gifted subs. That's awesome to see.
Who are we on? Are we on somebody still, or do we move on to somebody else? I think we're moving on to somebody else, right?
Yeah, Conley's old. Let's move on. Yes. Rest in peace. Right. Jaden McDaniels, 35 minutes, 5 points, a block shot, 2 steals, 2 assists, 6 rebounds. He was kind of doing it all without ever getting the ball. But also, here I am watching all these other role players in the NBA just doing more with less. Just doing more. Najee Marshall is doing the exact same amount in 20 minutes less, Why is Champagny popping off for 12 points? Like why this is like a routine thing for the Spurs. Or like why is like, DeAndre Hunter off the Hawks? They're great. They're great players. Like, but so is Jaden. Why is there like not this ascension from him that we were expecting? Why is this reluctance to like get open? He sits in the corner. I'm frustrated with him. I'm more and more frustrated with him as the season progresses because I'm a big stand of his. But I just think we need an injection of life on the starting team because at one point, Cameron, I will stop talking, but it was like 2-2, and we weren't scoring.
Yeah.
Kyrie hits a three, Kyrie or hits an and one, and it's like 5-2. It could have been 7-2 or 9-2, and I'm really frustrated because like without Ant going off for 8 points, quickly, like we could have been like down double digits. Well, couldn't there be someone else that's not Randle like doing something for this team on offense? Luckily, we found it by ball movement. But like ball movement should also just like land in Jaden's hands sometimes. It only landed in his hands like a couple of times tonight, and he's not forcing it. He's not trying to get open. It's pretty sad, honestly.
Yeah, honestly, early in the game, I again had pretty good thoughts about Jaden. I've been kind of down on him this year because of the same exact things you were just talking about, where it's like we need some amount of a leap. I know his defense is always there. I know he plays good defense, but the rebounding wasn't there. The scoring wasn't there. Lately, he has been rebounding a lot better. And I've even seen him like crashing the glass a little bit, not just like getting rebounds. Like he's out efforting people to get rebounds, which I think deserves a huge plus, especially from a Jaden hater like me. But like seriously, I have liked that. But you are right. Comparing him to these players like DeAndre Hunter from the last game is a perfect example of like how can we not get this level of production just from three even, like why can't we shoot threes? I feel like that should be an easy thing for him to just sit down and do over and over and over and over again. Just hone in on 3-point shooting, catch and shoot. It doesn't even have to necessarily be like driving or creating. It could just be catch and shoot, because other teams have that, and if we had that, that would be massive. But it just seems like I mean we're how many years in? 4 years, 5 years in. Seems like it's not happening. So, I guess for a grade, I don't even know what to do. Jaden's the worst person to grade ever because he plays good defense, rarely does much on offense. Tonight, I guess he did a little rebounds. I don't know. I guess I'm probably going with a meh for Jaden tonight.
Makes sense.
Yeah. But where is Jaden? There he is.
Julius Randle pops off for 8 in the first quarter. 8 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 threes, by the way. He gets interviewed after the first quarter. We see his mom. That's pretty. It was pretty awesome to see because I don't know. Julius Randle is a person. He's a human. He has a father. He's a father. But like we're ripping him. Probably justly, by the way. We're ripping him though. He proceeds to the second quarter. Not do as much, but he gets 4 assists in the second quarter, which is very needed because no one else was kind of passing the ball, but we built our lead in large part because Julius was kind of playing in the system. That's awesome. So in half, he has 11 points and 7 assists. Holy crap. That's awesome. He also gets to the line 6 times. He ends with 35 minutes, 23 points, 8 assists, 10 rebounds, 8 for 10 from the free throw line. This is all awesome.
Yeah.
But I didn't see him in the second half.
Yeah.
It felt like a lot of just like random plays just to get and like a lot of like miraculous shots go in, and that's how we like stop like stem the bleeding or like get a little bit of cushion here. But I didn't see him a whole lot in the second half. Mostly in the fourth quarter, I didn't see him at all. But the third quarter, like he built a little bit of a a rhythm for himself. But like the fourth quarter, I don't know what to say, and I'm kind of like I want to give him an A, but I can't. I just can't because it's a near triple double. It's like remarkable numbers. He's a plus minus positive for tonight, and the first time in a while he played defense. Like I think it was good to see him rebound also because I'm worried about him rebounding, contesting rebounds with Gobert and stuff like that. Cameron, I'm just like not sure how to grade him though.
I think B is fair because I agree with you that this is there was a lot of good, especially early in this game. But then you're right, like the fourth quarter and third, maybe it was just miracle shots. Like he had that one where Cleaver or whatever his name is on him, and he's just doing the spin move over and over and over again, and then he just banks it in miraculously. Like that felt like a Randall play. That felt like the Randall play that everybody's been complaining about, where he's just hogging the ball, and he's determined to shoot, but maybe not score. And that's the play that I think hurts us. Of course, I mean, if he can make more of those than he misses, then fantastic. Which early in the season, like first couple games this season, he was having a lot of that kind of chaos under the basket, but he would go in, and it was like, okay, well, I even mentioned it multiple times where I'm like, I'm going to have to get used to seeing Randall do this because it seems chaotic, but he's making it. It's kind of fallen off a little bit. That has not been as effective. So, maybe this is part of something coming back for him, but yeah, I agree with everything you said, and I don't really have too much else to add. It was a fantastic beginning of the game for Randall. It felt like, I mean, we mentioned at the top of the broadcast, we were like, hey, we won the trade. No, I mean, we didn't win the trade, but it felt like the trade was coming to fruition finally. And yeah, just kind of a disappointing second half. So I'm down to go with a B for Randall. And but if any other GMs are watching, we could gladly go up to like a cash or even A1. We're just being tough. We're just being tough on them, right? That's what we're doing. So yeah.
Guys, we had 1 assist in the fourth quarter, and that's a lot of Julius Randle in with the ball, not passing. That's what also passing but not making shots. Like whoever has the ball left is not making shots. But who's taking all the shots? It's Randle. It's Edwards. Like this is all we're seeing in the fourth quarter, and nothing to do. We had Donte DiVincenzo just bricking everything in the fourth quarter.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We lost our identity when we went into the locker room, in a weird way. Like we set the pulse and pulse check, and we're like, oh, we're up 28. Let's like relax a bit. It's like let's just kind of play for ourselves now and like kind of do some stupid shit. And well, we messed around and we almost lost the game, right? So
yes,
I was really frustrated. Luckily we had that Ant layup at the end of the game. Like I don't know, like we really could have lost this game. I really think we could have lost this game. The way that we were playing, the energy that we were not using and utilizing our strengths, it was embarrassing. We went away from Gobert. Gobert had played almost the entire fourth quarter. Zeros. He did nothing. There's nothing on the box score in the fourth quarter. Like that's embarrassing, but also like we didn't utilize him the way that maybe the first couple quarters we were. And that's partially like to answer, Ant MJ's question about like why does not Ant get free throws? Why does Julius Randle the only one who can't be free throws, but he's aggravating to watch at times? It's like we're not using Gobert, so the players are sagging off of Gobert. We're not utilizing Randle because Randle's off or he is like different energy, so then they're sagging off of Randle. Jaden's like a no-show, so they're sagging off of Randle and Jaden and Gobert. Like, how does Ant drive to the rim, right? It looks like a wall.
Yes, exactly.
It's all connected. And I think even Julius, he's getting double and triple teamed, and he stays with the ball in his hands. And he's like doing these circles. And it reminds me of Big Al Jefferson. It reminds me of like, players that like have a lot of game and want to use their game, want to use the tools in their tool belt and whatever they brought up, the energy that they had. That first half was remarkable because he had everything going for him. That pass to Na in the corner, the oop to Gobert was incredible. That's what we want. That's more than we want. That was almost more than I was expecting from tonight from him. And a near triple double is remarkable. He's a B. He's a B plus. He can't be an A because we just lost our identity in the fourth quarter, and that can't happen. If this is the Julius Randle experiment and that's what we get from him, I'm not excited about it because we see it for a burst and then we don't see it again. Who are we as a team? Teams would know this. Maybe they already do. And we're learning this firsthand that like Julius is like a tale of two halves. He's a different player based off of his, prior successes in the first half or whatever. And maybe he's only the first quarter player. And that's really frustrating So more to see, but we got to celebrate the fact that we won. Celebrate that he had a really solid game, almost a triple-double. That's incredible, right?
He should be a first and third quarter player, and Naz should be a second and fourth quarter player.
Yeah.
Problem solved.
Well,
anyways,
I feel like I'm just talking nonstop here. I'm sorry. I'll be quiet about these next two players who might be our most important players right now, especially right now. Rudy Gobert, 40 minutes, 14 points, 10 rebounds, a block shot, 2 block shots, a steal, no 3-pointers. And he was 6 or 7 from the floor. That's very important because I feel I'll stop talking, but like we've like not used him for like games.
Yeah.
Multiple games.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, no. This was like, I mean, stats wise, you don't necessarily look at this and say this was dominating, but like this is the kind of game that Rudy wanted during the playoffs last year, where he was just getting eaten alive by Lively. I mean, he was blocking Lively tonight, and he was finishing over Lively tonight. So, like, this was a good game for Gobert defensively, even offensively. The only miss that he had was that weird like push shot fadeaway kind of thing. That was really stupid. Which, of course, is the only clip that is being shown on social media right now. But no, I mean, this was a really good game from Gobert. One that kind of instills a little bit of confidence in having Gobert go up against the Mavs, if we had to go up against them, if we make it to the playoffs. Yeah, you know, this was a great game from Gobert. Offense, defense, rebounding. Yeah, I mean, I don't really have a ton to comment on other than this was just like this was a good game. Where he actually was serviceable, you know, and it's just weird after watching the playoffs last year where it seemed like there were so many moments where he was just getting absolutely dominated by all of their bigs, not just Lively, but like Gafford, like everybody. It was a bad situation. So yeah, I guess for a grade, this is probably at least an A. I don't know if I want to go higher than an A. I'm determining that in my brain.
I agree. I thought he was awesome. Yeah. I thought he gave a crap. I think the whole like stand that he had with Gafford was kind of hilarious, and it didn't affect him. I think things like that do bother him.
Yeah.
Yes. And I think
also the fans, yeah, the fans chanting, what did they chant? Rudy sucks or whatever?
I don't know.
Yeah, it was in the fourth quarter or maybe late third quarter when we were up by like a ton, and the crowd was like very loudly chanting Rudy sucks after he got a block. Very weird. So weird. Anyways, sorry.
Anti-rooting chants. Yeah. Wow. Interesting. Yeah, that would probably bother me too. I was just thinking about this the other day, actually, while watching the game. That's how long the game felt, by the way. The second half felt like it took forever.
Yes.
I remember in high school, holy crap, I would just run up and down the court, not get the ball because Joey DiCarlo was our point guard, and he would just run to the rim, get fucking fouls, get his free throws, get his layups. And his name was Joey DiCarlo. Fuck you, Joey DiCarlo. You never passed the ball to me. I would run up and down the court. I would get steals, and I would fucking pass to him, or I would try to dribble, but I'm not the kind of guy that he was. So he was our star or whatever, right? I would fucking feel dejected. I would feel like I'm not going to play as hard. I would kind of like, I remember this being like, I'm frustrated. I don't know how to get it out of me. I'm just going to play harder and try to get the ball myself, right? That's how I probably would feel if I was Jaden McDaniels or Rudy Gobert. Finally, we get the ball to Rudy Gobert. He feels like he's like not on an island by himself defensively. We're playing really strong for 3 quarters. We hold them to like 60 points at one point. Like, you know, like, what was it? Like 40 points at halftime. And without that like run at the end of the third quarter, it would have been like 60 points and 3, right? It's Jedison DiCarlo. Yeah. I can't believe I remember his name. This is 25 years ago. My God, I'm so old.
Trade Joey DiCarlo.
Oh my God. We talked funny. Oh my God. Alrighty, moving on.
Yeah, Gobert's an A.
But Gobert's an A. Put him there. Anthony Edwards, 40 minutes, 26 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals, a block shot, 4 for 7 from 3. All sounds good. 4 turnovers, no free throws. 6 points in the fourth quarter when Kyrie pops off for 39. Hey, you're my all-star. Get your game on. What was that, Smash Mouth? Take it away, Cameron.
Yeah, this honestly, it's sort of impressive to score 26 points without any free throws. So that's, I mean, kudos to Ant. No, I mean, clearly, if you watch this game start to finish, this was like an Anthony Edwards playoff game kind of a performance. Not fully, but like this was in that realm way more than a regular season game. He clearly came to play tonight, hit some shots early, was playing defense pretty aggressively all night. And he was in it. He was talking to both, I mean, everybody. He was talking to a lot of people throughout the game. He was talking back and forth with Luka a little bit in the beginning. And then there was a point where I think PJ Washington or somebody blocked him. And then he's like, oh, sure, you're going to block from behind and then talk. Like there was some interesting moments. Of course, he did eventually take over, I guess, with 4 points in the fourth quarter late. But this was definitely a better game from Ant. I would like to see a little bit more of him taking over in the fourth. Of course, I don't want him just chucking, but he got to some spots late in the fourth. He drove for that layup. That was a very Ant-looking layup. Also, that bank shot that he hit that was like 3 minutes left in the game or something, that was very Ant-looking. That's the thing. That's my main concern that I've had with Ant, like for the past maybe year or two, is like all these other stars, and you guys have heard me say this before, but all these other stars, SGA, Kevin Durant, Embiid, Jokic, everybody gets to their spot or gets their shot. And Ant doesn't really have that much of like a spot or a shot. It's kind of, I mean, this is why people call him MJ, is because he can kind of hit it from anywhere and do everything. He can hit threes. He can post or dunk you. He can hit the fadeaway. He can do an up and under. Like he can do everything, but can he do everything? Not everything is his best. Like he needs to have a best thing that he has, so that he can go to that late in games. Because otherwise, it's just kind of a mystery, both for the defenders and himself. So it's like, just have something that's a go-to move that he can get used to. And maybe that's threes. I don't know. But, I mean, I sure would love for it to be poster dunks. I want to see poster dunks every game. But yeah, I mean, that's just the thing that I've said is just that like he needs that kind of a move, because otherwise it's going to look like it's not going to be comfortable. There's going to be turnovers. I mean, he had turnovers in the fourth. So he just needs to get something that's repeatable, that he can like 100% craft to be his own. I don't know. That's just what he needs. But anyways, I mean, this was a good game. I'm not trying to nitpick too much because I mean, I love Ant. This is a good game from him. I could probably go with an A for Ant tonight.
Keep going, man. Like I think I'm learning a few things here about like what Ant can and cannot do. Like I think he can do it all, but also like I'm stressed sometimes when I'm watching this team because I'm not sure what to expect. Like the ball is getting hurried, the ball is not moving. There's this ISO crap that's happening. We're not running plays. The ball is like sticky. There's no straight voltage, but there's definitely just like high usage of just chucking. And I'm kind of like wondering to myself, like, there's another level to Ant, and we are watching this version of Ant, and it's pretty phenomenal, right? There's going to be another level where he's going to reach, and we're going to be by his side, and he's going to take this team to a new level on his own. But it's not right now. What can we do? Simplify his game, make it easier for him, make him able to drop. Now he doesn't have to think that much.
Yeah.
But like Gerald is mentioning, Finch is asking him to do a lot of little things that makes him think and overthink and make him fumble and turn it over and have to take over. And I think he can do a lot less and actually get more out of it. So that's kind of what I'm feeling when I watch this team, when I watch him, specifically when the games are close and stuff. But you said it best, like he has so much in his game, but he doesn't have a go-to move. And when he has a go-to move, does he ever get it to it? Because he's doubled, the ball is out of his hands. Should he find a post-up situation where the ball's in Randle or Conley's hands, and then he finds a post-up situation, then he does a fadeaway. Is he actually MJ? Is he Kobe? Is he his own player? Like he has to figure this out in real time, but also we don't have time to waste, So Cameron, like I'm on whatever you just said, like and I just want to see answers. And I think it comes from Finch, my friend. Like I think Finch needs to settle this team down because June's saying this in chat. Other people are saying this in chat. He's so young. Ant can't like have the IQ of the gods of the NBA.
Yes.
He has to learn into it or mature into it. He might not get there. Like that's a thing that we are putting labels on him that he's going to be these players. He just might not. And that's okay.
Yeah.
And that's totally fine. Joe Johnson was amazing. Mitch Richmond was amazing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they weren't like MJs, they weren't like Joe. They were like Joe Dumars. They weren't like, I'm saying players, but like, I don't know. Ant is probably better than all of those players, and we just said great ass fucking players.
But, and only other thing I was gonna address Ish here, Ant can't dunk or get downhill if it's clogged. Yeah, I mean that is true, but that's also partially like roster construction at this point. So like it's if we're gonna have Randle and Gobert down there, and not to mention just our own players, but like they are loading up on Ant. So Ant needs to be able to pass to somebody else like Jaden or somebody else like Mike or Nah and have them hit threes at a consistent rate to draw that defense out so that he has at least just 1-on-2 instead of 1-on-4 or 1-on-3. So yeah, I mean it's more complicated. Of course, we're talking in generalities, but yes, there is more to that. So yes, that is true. But yeah, Ant is an A tonight. Maybe for our expectations, this is a little bit of tearflation, but I mean, I think this was a national stage game that he ended up winning for us, even if it just was a few buckets late in the fourth, and a lot of buckets early on. But yeah. And actually, I agree with what Ish just said. Randle should not be on the floor with Ant, but that's a politics issue because it's gonna go crazy if Finch is like, yeah, by the way, we're gonna bench you, Randle, because Randle is already proven to be, I think it'll be a little interesting if we did that.
I don't disagree with this, but like Julius Randle's hitting his threes, so we can't really like knock him for that. And maybe at the end of games, Randle was like a little like he a bit of a black hole. But we don't have any other threats out there right now until they can shoot threes and hit threes on a consistent rate. Like Randle and Naz and Nah, and two of them are off the bench right now. And we just saw Donte DiVincenzo for the first time this season. So like I don't necessarily agree with that. Like Randle can't play with Edwards.
I think they
haven't established much chemistry though together.
Yes, I think that's more of what it is that they just haven't learned how to play with each other, which is a bad sign because Ant and Cat really didn't learn to play together for their entire tenure together. So it's something to look for, but maybe we won't have to look for that much longer. I have no idea how much longer Randle's on the team.
Right.
But yeah, Ant feels like Kobe or MJ in that sense. He finds it fun to play with different parts of his game. We can tell Ant is special because of his playoff history. We know he loves the stage. He certainly does love the stage, and I think that's why he plays better on a game like tonight than he did against Atlanta. Although the Atlanta game surprised me a little bit because he's from Atlanta, and he usually goes crazy in Atlanta. But just a weird game. But yeah, Ant, A, and there's the tier list. It looks like an F. Cool. An okay game. It could have been a really, really fun game, a really, really good game, and it was for a while. But yeah, we win. That's the main thing. Oh, wow. Well, next up, what do we have? We have a game Friday, I know. Let's see here. Who was it against? The Rockets. So we stay in Texas. Okay. Stay in Texas for actually almost a week. We play the Rockets at the Rockets on Friday. Oh, but then we go home to play the Spurs on Sunday. And then next Tuesday, we play OKC. So we go back down south. We got a tricky schedule. That'll be interesting. Wemby's a little scary right now. The Rockets are playing decent, I believe. I don't actually know what their last 10 are, but I feel like every time I see their score, they're playing well. So
They're playing really well.
Yeah. Well, be some interesting games. We can be done because it's an hour, but I guess quickish question for you and the chat. Do you think by the end of December, any trades for the Timberwolves are completed?
I mean, it's just a week left. I don't think any trades are happening. We have key games here, and I think we have just won. Dude, if we had lost by 30,
I think that
question would be pretty potent.
Yeah, exactly.
Would people be fired? Like that'd be another step too that we could have a conversation about. I don't think anything's like that's happening. Ish said, I guess, earlier that this is a rebuilding year or this is a building year. This is not a contending year. I don't know if we should feel that way. I think fans, but also players and also the team should feel like they could contend. They can get there, and we don't have to be at the top all season long to feel that way. Like we can hit our stride and be the best versions of ourselves in March and April, and actually, that's all I care about.
Exactly. That was going to be exactly what I just said. Is you can take literally all season to figure it out offensively. Take it all. You just need to be at least 500, and I mean, really, you have to be in the play-in or playoffs. If you can be there, if you can hover around like the 5 to 8 seed, then I don't think you really need to be concerned too much. Now, of course, like I'm not having a super fun time with Randle on the team other than like the first half tonight. But if you can survive and stay, I mean, right now we're 9th, but we're only 3.5 games back of the 4 seed. So it's like you could view that two ways. You could view that as, okay, let's get rid of Randle as soon as possible because he's not helping us at all. So let's just get something else that could possibly help us more than Randle is. Or you could view it as we're struggling like crazy and we're still learning together. And we're only 3.5 games back of having home court advantage in the playoffs.
Right.
So, there's a couple different ways to look at that. Of course, I've been both over the last week or two. But I just don't know. I don't know what trades make sense for us, even if there are some out there. There's been some names floated around. Of course, there is the Suns are in an interesting position because they have played really bad lately. And they have a very expensive team. Not that they can really get off of that expensive team, but they can get off of some of their higher salary people and get less contracts, so somebody like KD, less years on the contract or something like that. People have talked about Cam Johnson. I don't really think, I would love Cam Johnson, but I think there's a lot of teams out there that have a lot more assets that could get Cam Johnson for a lot easier than we can. Also, all of this is made more difficult because we are a second apron team and we have to take as many players as we give up. So we can't trade, or I guess we could hypothetically do what we did with Cat and trade 1 for 2, but you cannot trade 2 for 1 or 3 for 1 or something like that. So you have to have multiple players, 3 players going for 3 players or something like that. So it's tricky. I don't know that it's going to happen, but I do think if we go on a really bad losing streak here, I know that this is a tough schedule and these would be, somewhat justifiable losses. Not saying that's like acceptable, but and then after, I'm saying this. So we're playing the Rockets, the Spurs, and OKC. That's going to be tough to go 2-1 or better. And then after that, we play the Celtics next Thursday. So it's like this is just we're in a bad stretch here. The stretch after that is a little bit better. Pistons, Clippers, Pelicans, thank God. Magic, Grizzlies, Wizards. So it's like a little less intense. But the next 4-ish games, if we lose all 4 games, all bets are off. You could see some movement or some firings or something. I don't know, but
because that's a realistic. outlook is that we lose all 4 of those games. It's not a discredit to us even. Like we're a 500 team, slightly better 500 team.
They're just really good.
Tested.
Yeah.
And this is our show. This is like our team. And we're saying like a realistic option is like 0-4 against these teams that would suck.
That would be bad. That would be bad.
I don't know.
But
I would say that like, yeah, waiting till the trade deadline would be wasting time. But also,
yeah, if you think that you need to do a trade, then you do it now. But if you're like unsure, then you just keep it as is and just ride it out, if for better or for worse, until the end of the season. Because then next year Randle's an expiring contract, much easier to move, which is I think was kind of the thought process for Tim. I think the thought process was keep him for a year, see what happens. If it's great, then fantastic. If not, then you have an expiring contract next year, and then I also assume you probably thought Donte was going to go well, so then he could be just like a new piece for us. We could trade Randle and some other contract, who knows, for some other better player or somebody that fits us better. But of course, then still abiding by the second apron rules, all that garbage. But yeah, well, long Christmas stream, hour and 6 minutes. I will be back. I am free Friday. Are you Friday?
I don't know.
That's okay. Well, I, at the very least, will be here Friday, so you can look for a stream on Friday. But as always, join the Discord. That's where we have a new channel that is, what does it say? Are we streaming tonight or something like that? So you'll be able to know, because it has been a little bit more up in the air this year for both me and Ashwin. And it will continue to be that way. So join the Discord. It might get worse. Join the Discord, follow us on Twitter, follow us on Blue Sky, and yeah, like the stream, subscribe to the stream.
Yeah, I like what you said here. You know, we beat a top 5 team in the West against one of the best closers in the league. This was a great win in his opinion. Yeah, that's a really great take and a great like kind of mindset to be in. Like we just won, but we barely won, and I'm frustrated. But actually, we just beat a top 5 team in the West. We should feel like relieved, and we should feel like excited about that, because we are worried about this team in this future. And if we can start building wins and like stacking like these types of performances and like, hey, taking the positives out of this, but be realistic about it, I think that might be better than kind of like riding the highs and lows of every win and every like moment on the court. Because like, oh no, Randle like will make mistakes and have high turnover games and not make threes, and we're gonna point fingers at him again. Like so. But we can also have a performance like this once in every 10 games or something. I don't know. So good take, good kind of way to close out this show too.
Yeah, good positivity.
Looking forward to the rest of the season with you guys. But most importantly, let's just like win. Let's like win some games and like feel good about our team. Feel good about rooting for this team again. And so
let's get some feel good moments here. Let's do that. But cool. Well, it was great to see you all again. Merry Christmas to everybody who celebrates.
MJ as well. Happy holidays.
Yes.
Eric
Thank
Heller.
you to Eric Heller, Aunt MJ, 25-3, Wolves After Dark, everybody for gifting subs, super chats, all the stuff. Seriously, we do appreciate it. Cool. Well, 52 wins is still possible. We have to start doing the math, because we're probably not that far away from 52 wins already not being possible. It certainly seems impossible. Intro as the outro. We will see you Friday.
I believe that the Minnesota Timberwolves are going to win the World Championship.
Edwards. They are advancing to the Western Conference Finals for the first time in 20 years.